What's going on, gents? Today we got something new from Pete and Pedro, and it is their new fragrance, Villain. Now, this is not a sponsored review, so everything I say are my honest thoughts. I actually received this in the mail by surprise when they first released, so this review is long overdue. So as most of you guys know, Pete and Pedro fragrances are inspired by pricier designer fragrances, and that inspiration for this one came from Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. Now, in the past I have tried out Tobacco Vanille, and let's just say that I didn't get the best reactions, and I wasn't too thrilled when I received a fragrance inspired by it. But I will note that if you are used to only smelling crowd-pleasing fragrances with your typical citrus and bergamot blends, then you may be taken back by the private blend line from Tom Ford by not only the hefty price tag, but the scent profile as well. But I'm gonna distinguish the difference between the two to the best of my ability, so let's just get into it. Now, I'm pretty well versed on what I'm about to say about these fragrances, but let's just play fragrance reviewer and spray them on paper and pretend that I'm just forming my opinion right on the spot. There's Rebel. And there's Tobacco Vanille. Huh. Interesting. The opening between the two is pretty night and day. With Tobacco Vanille, you are greeted with this really tasty gourmet vanilla that's very dominant from opening to dry down. With Villain, it's quite the opposite. The tobacco note is the most dominant, while having subtle hits of vanilla, but not nearly as sweet as Tobacco Vanille. So once the opening settles, Tobacco Vanille remains very sweet, almost like honey, and the slight hint of tobacco subsides completely, turning it into a very dominant, sweet cinnamon vanilla fragrance. Did I say it was sweet? Now with Villain, the tobacco note is still very dominant, but I start to get a bit of smokiness with wood notes and spices. I wouldn't say the vanilla in this one completely subsides, but you can still pick it up, and there is still a hint of that sweetness to it. Now, as for performance, Tom Ford exceeds Villain by a full day. It's very potent stuff. As for Villain, I get a good five hours or so before it becomes a skin scent. Projection wise, I get somewhat halfway in arm's length for Villain. Tobacco Vanille, it's pretty, it projects pretty damn strong. So for both of these, I would suggest you go no more than 2 sprays. Age range, these are mature fragrances, especially coming from Pete and Pedro. This is their most mature fragrance to date, so age range, I would suggest anywhere from maybe 25 and up, 27 and up, or around there. Season, winter, maybe fall, but this is primarily a winter scent for me. They came out with this during the summertime, but save it for the fall and winter. As for my personal thoughts, I prefer Villain over Tobacco Vanille, because it's not syrupy sweet, and that's what got me negative reactions in the first place. I was told that I smelled like an older woman, even though it's a unisex fragrance, and someone told me it reminded them of hugging someone's grandma. Yeah, I know the Tom Ford fans are not gonna like what I say, but that's just my experience. I do find Villain to be much easier to pull off, and I will sum it up as a masculine version of Tobacco Vanille. Now, if Tom Ford were to come out with Tobacco Vanille for him, I would say it would smell like Villain. But yeah, that was a quick little breakdown of Tobacco Vanille versus Pete and Pedro Villain. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have tried it out. It's been out for, I think, 2 months now. But yeah, make sure to leave that code assembled15 to get 15% off your order. I believe it is still active, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.